Hey everybody, I hope everybody is doing well. My name is Ray McKenna. I have been in the fitness industry for over 15 years and also studying inside of the fitness industry. I've worked in, I think, 8 gyms at the moment, and I've taken two internships, which one of them was with Real Madrid and the other one was in Australia with an amazing coach. And I'm still looking for an internship now today to enhance myself to the next level of what I want to achieve. Hopefully that goes through. I've taken two master degrees in sports nutrition, sports training, and exercise physiology, which also had components of sports psychology inside of it too. And I've done like 20 plus qualifications. But enough about me. I'm here to give you a little bit of value today, and hopefully you can get the most out of this too. I wanted to speak on 10 ways to keep your brain healthy. These wouldn't be in absolutes, but I'm going to give you 10 little tips that hopefully you are doing, or if not, you can start developing the habit to do these today and get the most out of your day to day energy, vitality. Number one is prioritizing mental health. So, first off, I am not a mental health coach or a therapist whatsoever. Even though I wrote a thesis in my master's degree on the gut microbiome and how it relates to exercise without the use of supplementations or anything else. And we know that the gut microbiota has a massive relationship with our brain and brain health. We know that, but I'm still doesn't class me as a mental health coach. No way. There's therapists out there for that. There is psychoanalysts. There is cognitive behavior therapists. There is so much great counselors out there, addiction counselors, wherever. I've done therapy for a decade. I still do it now. It changed my life, has a massive impact on my life. I've referred other people to do it, but again, I'd suggest not telling anybody. What has worked for me and worked for many others to help with that was prioritizing a specialist and a therapist to go through certain stuff. And I do find things like meditation, day to day stuff can also contribute to that. Also, that's number one. So, prioritizing mental health is number one to keep your brain healthy, in my opinion, and I think in many others. The number two is breathe. Breathing and things like getting involved in something like meditation. Now, I find that when I done therapy and when I started doing more and more therapy, that my meditation got better because I was processing emotions and I was able to sit with emotions and sit with myself. And that's the thing about meditation. I've traveled a lot of the world to actually meditate for the last decade. I've been with so many different forms of meditation. I've studied all Sam Harris's work. I've been subscribed to his app. He's an amazing guy. I've done all these different teachers, the Eckhart Tolles, all that stuff. But the thing about what I would say is I've been consistent with meditation about a decade. So I don't need a meditation coach. I don't need that because I have consistency with it. You get me? It's not a chore to me. And what I mean by a chore, it's not something that I dread doing or want to do or I need to do. I actually enjoy doing it because it helps you breathe and it actually helps you, it definitely helps regulate stress levels. It definitely brings you into the present moment more. It definitely identifies you with yourself. It definitely can help you look at stuff that you cannot see what's going on inside your life. But I also do definitely believe that it's really, really beneficial for us to breathe. The other thing about breathing as well is you can do breathing for your diaphragm, which your diaphragm is absolutely amazing for controlling tension in the body. So you can see the way it relates. You're probably thinking, where would someone like me start if I was to look back with meditation? Like, there's so much stuff on YouTube now. I would suggest finding something that you like, or even going to a yoga class because yoga is actually activating the diaphragm, but not activating. You're using your diaphragm a lot because you have to breathe, and you have to breathe in certain positions that forces you to use your diaphragm more. And usually, when you start doing all this breathing stuff, you're kind of like managing stress a little bit more, and you're bringing yourself into parasympathetic. So, like parasympathetic activity. So, it's like rest and digest. So, you're actually bringing yourself to calm down, lowering anxiety, stuff like that. But I do believe that the brain health is the number one, or the mental health will be number one before this, also. Number three is habits. Form habits that are very, very healthy for you to move you forward, to keep your brain healthy on a day-to-day basis. So them habits might be something like, for an example, let's say you're looking to achieve something in your life. You are looking to, we'll do an example because I'm just trying to break this down. Like, you're looking to improve, say, in meditation, or what we just spoke about, something for your breathing or whatever you're going to do. So you might develop a habit on a day-to-day basis of like prioritizing something like a meditation practice, prioritizing something like a yoga practice, prioritizing something that informs breath work, like a movement class, wherever it is, or whatever kind it is. Or you might prioritize something for self-care, to start prioritizing and taking care of yourself, something healthy that you want to do for self-care. Something of a habit might be that you might go and start preparing yourself some good nutritional habits that you can build on a day-to-day basis. Some of them might be, I know they sound simple, but like, are we drinking enough water on a day-to-day basis? Are we having sufficient protein every single day? Are we probably eating enough vegetables every single day? Are we having good quality carbohydrates that contain a good amount of fiber inside of them, good amount of vitamins and minerals inside of them? Are you possibly reading a book on a day to day basis? Are you reading, like if you look into programs like 75 Hard or stuff that people do, they get people to read 10 pages of a book every single day? Stuff like that, habits that you can start doing. And I would highly suggest that you could probably, sorry, my back is so itchy, that you could just gonna scratch it, that you could probably do like the three habits on a day to day basis, and like start changing them habits like every couple of weeks and form new habits, because them habits then become skills and they become automatic. Makes sense? But I would highly suggest do habits that align with where you want to go and what you want to achieve. I can give you a prime example. I don't like using me, just so you know. I have to practice Spanish. I also read research papers every single day, and sometimes that gets a little bit overwhelming when you're trying to like also take care of your health. You're trying to run a business. You're trying to have a social life. All these kind of things you can get like, but like at the end of the day, I can tell you one thing, guys. Like, no joking with you, my Spanish is good at the moment. Like, I'm amazed that I'm proud of myself for, see, that little 45 minutes and 60 minutes and 30 minutes every day, and not thinking you're getting ahead. That's compounded through stressful days, stuff not going on trains, walking down the road, listening to Spanish. Where is it? Where's that paper? Journaling the Spanish, listening to it, watching films, speaking on it. Like, I must say, I'm at about level B, and I know it's taken a couple of years, but who cares? Imagine not knowing any of it. Imagine I hadn't have done any of that, and like even just doing them habits, even the habit of like walking every single day, even the habit of like eating protein, even like they sound simple, but are we doing these every day? Consistently, because protein, guys, is not just for like muscle tissue. Just remember that it also is important for the health of your gut. It's also important for your immune system. Like, so think of that. Like, protein is probably the number one nutrient for your immune system. So always think of that. It's very, very important for us. Number four is taking on a new challenge. Like, what's a kind of new challenge that you could actually take on that's going to keep your brain healthy? Like, what's something that you can do that can take you outside your comfort zone? For an example, it's now the last quarter of the year where I'm recording this video. So you probably were somebody that was in January, right? And like a lot of people fail on January resolutions. In the scientific literature, I think it's about 90 something percent. And I believe that a lot of people fail in January resolutions because the challenges, look, it's good. It's very, very motivating time of the year. Let's be fair. So, but like the challenge is too big. It's just not realistic. You know where I'm coming from? It's just too overwhelming, and it's just kind of reach burnout, give up, quit. Challenge might be you could probably say, I'm at being listening to this coach called Ray McKenna, and he said to me not to worry about the last 9 months of the year and to go back and look at what he said he was going to do. And now you probably have one more chance to just finish the year strong. You know, you might just say to yourself, you know what, I accept that these goals didn't go through, blah, 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 this happened. But at the end of the day, I'm ready to give myself one more chance. And like, if you start giving yourself one more chance, you'll understand that it's okay to make a mistake because they're not really mistakes, they're just lessons, all right? And you might say to yourself, you know what, there's a last quarter this year. You see that body weight goal I was looking to do? You see that, like, practice that language? Do you see that strength training goal? Do you see that boxing club I was going to join? You see that salsa class I was going to go to? Do you see that yoga class I was going to go to? You see that hiking class, slamming doors? Do you see that all the time? Like, do you know what what you can do is you can give yourself one more chance and at least start finishing them. Because see them habits that you develop, like, I'll give you one thing, right? I travel a lot, all right, and I live in a different country and stuff like that. And sometimes socializing and getting out and stuff like that can be hard because it takes a habit and a challenge to get out and do that. But one of the things that I always do is I always socialize Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays mainly the first that because like no matter what happens in the week, I get out and get them out of the way. Makes sense? Because at least then I know that I've done it. And it's about developing the challenge to get dressed, step out of your comfort zone, go out, meet new people, go back through the same stuff, blah blah blah. My parents know I'm here, from Ireland. Yeah, I'm the only Irish person that doesn't drink. Yeah, yeah, all that. And I have to keep going through that all the time. But it's okay. This is why you have to just get out there and get out of your comfort zone and start meeting, doing whatever challenges. It's about the challenge, and it's very, very healthy for your brain because it's you becoming the future self. Number five is finding a nutrition that works for you. Look, if I was to give a little bit of advice right now, with being an expert on the gut microbiome after studying it and researching it and looking into like macro and micronutrients and how the body expands energy through total daily energy expenditure, I can tell you one thing that every single human being, even watching this or here, is different. Every one of us are different. So every culture is different. I've lived in Canada, I've lived in Australia, I've lived in Spain, I've lived in England, been in so many different countries throughout the world. Telling you one thing, all cultures are different. So there's no one size fits all diet. The one that you should find out is the one that works for you and that you can set yourself up for success, that you can personalize specific to you. I would say gut health is very, very important, especially after diving into the research and writing thesis and master's degrees on it. But like you'd be amazed that like you don't have to like unless you have irritable bowel syndrome, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you're vomiting all the time, you've bad digestion, you've loads of diarrhea all the time, you've cloudy brains, you're feeling like indigestion, gastric reflux. I don't know whether you have much gut issues, like, but it depends on you. But you don't have to go on these big extreme elimination diets. You can look into something like Monash University. You could even drop me a message. I can give you some answers if you wanted. Like, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Like, realistically, you can just cut FODMAPs, which are fermentable carbohydrates and sugar alcohols, out of your nutrition plan. But it doesn't have to be for the rest of your life. You can do it for like I think, what, 4 to 6 week period, and then like reintroduce them back in. That's only if you have them symptoms though. But I'd say find out something that's specific to you that gives you energy, vitality, a certain amount of vitamins and minerals every single day, a certain amount of dietary fiber, keeps you satiated, but also allows you a little bit of foods that you like in moderation to be able to enhance your health over a long duration of time. Number six is exercise. I always would recommend finding out like strength training, number one, but it doesn't have to be every single day, like whatever, to actually improve you to get stronger as a human being, to improve your muscle tissue, to improve your endocrine system, to improve bone mineral density, which these are the most important things, flexibility, but to have you just physically capable for day to day tasks. Because, like, if you even look at, say, sports, I'm not saying that you don't ever think I'm speaking as if you're an athlete, but most athletes now are all strength training. And this is why they're recovering more better. This is why they're being much more better because it's very, very important to do that. And I'd always say that I done a video earlier on it like that. You could do it at home, you could do it in the gym, you could go and do a class with somebody 2 to 3 times a week. You could go to a CrossFit gym. You could go to High Rocks, whatever you feel is good that you can do consistently. But it's about finding exercise that you can do consistent, that's enjoyable, and that aligns with your goals. But it's very, very important for brain health exercise. Even memory, health, mood, all this kind of stuff. And that's even the thing about cardiovascular work. A lot do cardiovascular work, I believe, for the wrong reasons. They do it for fat loss, although cardiovascular work helps with fat loss. But if you were to look at that for fat loss, like it probably burn what 2 to 300 calories, if even, depending on the individual, depending on how adapted they are, depending on their current energy state. It can depend on loads of different stuff that we could get lost in this video. But if you're doing it for that, like chances are you'd be probably best off like looking into the energy intake that you're having and looking probably to remove some of the foods that you're probably having or reducing the amounts if you're doing it for that. But what I would say, un- understanding exercise physiology and the benefits of cardiovascular for health. Sorry, just sitting on this chair. Think of this. Think of cardiovascular training to improve insulin sensitivity in your body. Think of it to improve your mitochondria. Think of it to improve fat metabolism. Think of it to improve carbohydrate metabolism. But most of all, think of it to improve angiogenesis, which is the development of new blood vessels over a long duration of time. But most of all, think of it to improve your heart health. Makes sense? Think of it to improve gastric emptying, which is the rate at which substrates leaves your gut and up into circulation and into storage. Like, think of it for other stuff. Think of it for improving VO2 max. Think of it for improving your energy every single day. Makes sense? Like, think of the real stuff, the longevity stuff, the real health benefits of it. And you might even be doing like cardiovascular work for your sport. You might even be doing like sprint training for your sport if you're able to do that. You possibly be doing like intervals 1 to 2 times a week for improving your fitness levels, wherever you can set yourself up for consistency. But I would highly recommend that you start doing cardiovascular training for health. Number 7 is hydration. So before we go into hydration, just always remember that a lot of foods that we eat contain electrolytes, all right? And usually when people are going in, I'm not, look, I am not saying anything about saunas or anything, I think they're super beneficial, but you got to look at how you're losing fluids throughout the day. You got to look at the deficiencies of micronutrients and macronutrients that you have in your body every single day. You got to look at like the temperatures where you are. You got to look into other stuff before you think supplementation. I would suggest looking into a food first approach, all right? And looking into like, right, so for an example, if you look into like magnesium, which is an electrolyte, magnesium is in bananas, it's in avocados, it's in certain vegetables, it's in many different foods. But if you also looked into, say, for example, potassium, sodium, and calcium, if you looked into the what's another electrolyte? Calcium, potassium, sodium, and the one that I'm looking for, magnesium. There's one I'm missing, but I will come up with that. But if you look into this, you have this in even inside of like foods like milk. Like if you look into milk, I know a lot of people cut dairy outside of their diets all the time. So like if you look into dairy, dairy would contain electrolytes, it would contain sodium, it would contain potassium, it would contain B vitamins, it would contain basically calcium also, but it also contains protein. And then you have the food matrix inside of it too. So there's the other one is chlorine. I knew chlorine was one, and yeah, chlorine is also inside of some. So electrolytes are also inside of certain foods. For an example, if you look into things like potatoes, like a lot of people cut potatoes outside of their nutrition plan, where there's unbelievable scientific evidence on sweet potatoes, white potatoes, stuff like that. So if you look into them, they do have like vitamins, but they also have potassium. They're also high in potassium. Some of them are high in dietary fiber. So usually when you are probably drinking lots of water, but you'll also have a good combination of different food groups inside your diet, different fruits, different vegetables, different forms of carbohydrates, some good quality fats, some even like certain meats have electrolytes inside them. You are going to not really be deficient in these electrolytes, in my opinion, and probably in the scientific literature's opinion. The number A would be sleep. Sleep is super beneficial for you, and here's why. Sleep produces growth hormone naturally throughout deep sleep. It also helps regulate blood glucose, so it also helps you with energy, cognitive function, decision making, but most of all, it also helps with this, what I'm going to tell you right now. When you don't sleep and you sleep for probably 5.5 hours, stuff like that, unless you're taking something to reverse this, you have a respiratory exchange ratio which dictates whether your body uses carbohydrates or fats, or also can use your own body for energy. So what I mean is, it will start to use your body on deficiency on sleep, will start to lose and waste away muscle tissue because it will use that as fuel inside when you are deficient inside of sleep. So that's one of the negative consequences of poor sleep. But the other one about poor sleep is that like you could be like almost pre-diabetic for up to probably 24 to 48 hours if you're not sleeping well. But doesn't mean that you have to get great sleep. This is not going to happen if you get like say 1 to 2 poor nights of sleep, that you'll have negative consequences. You got to look. You can look at sleep over a week. You can look at like, right, if you got, say for example, 5.5 hours, probably understanding that like this is only one day. The next day you could probably aim for 6.5 hours. The day after that you could probably go for your 7 or your 8. But the most important thing is just to develop the habits to be able to be getting in between 7 to 9 hours to get the positive benefits out of sleep. But if you have 1 to 2 bad nights sleep, I don't think you're going to get really chronic effects of the effects of poor night's sleep in the first place. But just looking into like how do you one of the habits that you could do, like what we spoke about today, is like how do I prioritize a sleep routine to be able to have a better night's sleep. And that could be like something like going to bed at a certain time every night. If you're able to do that, you could be someone that has kids, you could be someone that works shifts, you could be someone that is busy, but you could actually go start setting your sleep routine, creating a dark room, getting off your phone in the evening, probably having a pre-bed meal of like some carbohydrates, proteins, fats. We've seen loads in the literature to show that carbohydrates promotes deep sleep. Number nine would be learning, which is very, very good for your brain. Learning new things, that's going to be one thing that you could do. Going out and, as I said, probably even learning a new skill, learning a new hobby, going and even, if you look into, say, for example, going down and doing exercise technique, this does neurological adaptations. It also builds neuroplasticity in the brain because the skill that you're getting to do a new lift. So when you actually go down and you take the time to improve exercise technique and you go redo that again, what happens is the high repetitions of, it doesn't even have to be high. It's going to give you new skill development and new learning. This can be also great for your brain health. But the 10th one is connecting with other people and going out and connecting with people in your career. Go out and connecting with people in your community, connecting and building a new social life, going out and going to social events. I would say social life and community is one of the most important things for brain health, for health in general. Like going out and meeting new people, new experiences, different cultures. Like going out on hiking trips, going out on, and I'm a little bit of a hypocrite at the moment with the hiking trips because I haven't been going on them, but I do go on them. I do go on them, and I do go out to social events at least 2 to 3 times I try a week, and sometimes it's not easy, but I do it. So that's why I'm able to probably speak on it a little bit more. But if I wasn't doing that, I would be a hypocrite. I couldn't tell you that, but I have experienced unbelievable hikes throughout the world and still do go on them, and I do plan on getting back out on them. I do go to a running club. I haven't been there in a couple of weeks. I've been doing different kind of clubs. There's loads of different stuff that you can do. Art classes, so much different stuff. But going out and connecting and doing them probably 2 times a week. This was 10 ways to keep your brain healthy. Although there's probably many, many more ways, but I hope that you got value from these tips. And I will let you go. Thanks a lot for listening to my video, and I'll chat to you all soon.